Robinson Crusoe, The Voyage and the Storm. My name is Robinson Crusoe. I was born in the year 1632 in the city of York in England. My father was a good, honest man, and he wanted me to live a quiet, safe life. But I had other dreams. From the time I was a boy, I wanted to go to sea and travel the world. My father often said, "Robinson, stay home. A sailor's life is full of danger. Be happy with what you have." But my heart was restless. I wanted adventure. I wanted to see faraway lands and discover new things. One day, when I was about 19, I met a friend who was planning to sail to London. "Come with me," he said. "It will be fun." Without thinking, I agreed. I said nothing to my parents. The next morning, I left home and walked to the harbour. The ship looked small, but my heart was full of excitement. At first, everything was wonderful. The wind was strong, the sea blue and bright. I felt free, like a bird. But after 2 days, dark clouds appeared. The waves grew high, and the ship began to rise and fall. The wind howled like a wild animal. I had never seen such power. "Hold on!" shouted one of the sailors. "A storm is coming!" Then came the rain. Heavy, cold, endless. The sea was angry. The ship creaked and groaned. Water poured over the deck. I was terrified. "Oh God," I prayed, "if you save me, I will never go to sea again." For 12 hours the storm raged. Finally it grew quiet. The sun broke through the clouds and the sea turned calm again. The sailors laughed. "That was nothing," said one. "You'll see worse before you die." I tried to smile, but inside I was still shaking. That night, when the ship reached a small port, I got off and decided to go home. I remembered my promise to God. But the next morning, my fear was gone, and my heart was full of desire again. I was foolish, I told myself. I can't give up so easily. A few weeks later, I joined another ship, this time bound for Africa. The captain was kind and promised to teach me everything about the sea. At first, the voyage was good. We saw dolphins, flying fish, and beautiful sunsets. But then one morning, near the Canary Islands, black sails appeared on the horizon. "Pirates!" someone shouted. Before we could turn, their ship was beside ours. Men with swords and pistols climbed on board. The fight was short. We were captured. The pirates were from Morocco. Their leader, a tall man in a red turban, looked at me and said, "You will be my slave." For 2 years I worked for him, cleaning his house and caring for his fishing boats. I often looked at the sea and dreamed of escape. Then one day my master sent me out fishing with a young Moorish boy named Jury. When we were far from land, I said softly, "Jury, if you help me, we can be free." Do you want to go to sea with me?" He looked frightened. "Yes, Master Robinson," he said. "If we run away, I will go with you." We waited until night. The moon was small and the sea calm. When my master fell asleep, I took a gun, some food, and a little water, and we quietly pushed the small boat away from shore. At first we rowed hard, afraid someone would see us, but by morning we were far from land. The sun rose bright and the sea was wide and endless. I felt free again, but also afraid. "Where will we go?" asked Zuri. "South," I said. "Perhaps we will find friendly people, or maybe a ship." For many days we sailed along the coast of Africa. We saw wild animals on the shore and birds flying above us. Once we shot a lion that came too close to the water. Then, one hot afternoon, we saw a large ship in the distance. I took my shirt and waved it high. Slowly the ship turned toward us. It was Portuguese, a trading ship bound for Brazil. The captain was kind. He gave us food and water and took us on board. I thanked God for saving my life. When we reached Brazil, the captain helped me start a new life. He gave me some money for the small boat I had escaped with. I began to work on a plantation, growing sugar and learning the trade. For a few years I was content, but the sea was still in my blood. Every night, when the wind blew through the trees, I thought about ships, about waves, about freedom. And one day, when other planters said they wanted to send a ship to buy slaves in Africa, I agreed to go with them, even though deep inside I felt a quiet voice saying, "Don't go, Robinson. Stay home." I ignored that voice. I did not know that this voyage would change my life forever. The Shipwreck and the Island. The ship left Brazil with a good wind and a happy crew. There were 12 of us, full of hope and talk about trading in Africa. For many days the sea was calm and the sky clear. But then, one morning, dark clouds rose in the east. The captain looked worried. "A storm is coming," he said. "We must be careful." By noon, the waves grew tall and the wind howled like a monster. The sky turned black. The ship rolled from side to side. Men shouted, ropes broke, and water rushed over the deck. "Cut the sails!" cried the captain. But it was too late. A huge wave struck us from behind. I felt the ship lift and then crash down with a terrible noise. The sound of breaking wood filled the air. I was thrown into the sea. The water was cold and wild. I tried to swim, but the waves were stronger. "God, help me!" I shouted. The next moment, another wave lifted me up and threw me toward the shore. I saw rocks, trees, and white foam everywhere. Finally, my feet touched sand. I crawled onto the beach and fell down, too tired to move. All around me was water, broken pieces of the ship, and silence. When I woke, the sun was shining. The sea was calmer now. I looked for my friends, but there was no one. Everyone was gone. I was alone. I climbed a hill to see where I was. All I could see was sea and green land. No houses, no people, no boats. "I am on an island," I said aloud, and my heart filled with fear. I was hungry and thirsty. I found a small stream and drank deeply. Then I saw some fruit trees and ate what I could. Birds sang in the forest, but I felt only loneliness. That night I climbed into a tree and tied myself with a rope so I would not fall. I heard strange sounds, the cries of wild animals, and I could not sleep. If I die here, I thought, no one will ever know. In the morning, I saw something that made me hope again. Part of the ship was still standing on a sandbank, not far from the beach. "If I can reach it," I said, "I may find food and tools." I made a small raft from pieces of wood and paddled slowly to the wreck. The waves pushed me, but I managed to climb aboard. Inside, the water was up to my knees. I found boxes of food, bottles of wine, tools, guns, powder, clothes, ropes, everything a man could need. "Thank God!" I cried. "I will not die today." I loaded everything I could onto the raft and sailed back to the shore. The sea was calm, and I reached the beach safely. I carried the things to a dry place above the sand and built a small tent from sails and poles. That night, for the first time, I felt safe. I ate some bread and drank wine. Then I lay down and slept deeply. In the morning, I looked around the island more carefully. It was beautiful. Green hills, tall trees, and many birds. But there were also signs of danger. Wild goats, snakes, and strange footprints in the sand that might have been from animals. I decided to find a better home. Near a rocky hill, I found a flat piece of land with a clear view of the sea. I built a strong fence of logs and branches all around it. Inside, I made a small hut. It took me many days, but soon I had a house, a kitchen, and even a place to store my food. Every day I worked hard, cutting wood, drying grapes to make raisins, and marking each day on a piece of wood. I made a calendar by cutting one line for every sunrise. I must not forget time, I told myself. Sometimes I looked at the sea and cried, if only a ship would come. But none ever did. I was completely alone. To fight loneliness, I began to talk aloud. I thanked God for saving my life and prayed for courage. Slowly, my fear became smaller, and my hands became stronger. I learned to hunt goats and birds, to bake bread, and to make pots from clay. One day I climbed to the top of the hill and saw a long stretch of blue water all around me. I realized the truth. I was truly alone on an island in the middle of the ocean. There was no escape, at least not yet. I looked up to the sky and said quietly, God, you saved me before. Help me to live here until you save me again. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. I stopped counting after the first year. I was still alone, but I had learned many things about life on my island. Every morning I thanked God that I was alive. Then I worked. My clothes were old and torn, so I made new ones from animal skins. I built a small table and a chair, and I even made a lamp using goat fat and a piece of cloth for the wick. From the grain I had found on the ship, I planted seeds. At first, nothing happened, and I thought they were dead. But after many weeks, green shoots appeared. I took care of them carefully, and soon I had my first small harvest of barley and rice. I can make bread again, I said aloud, almost crying with joy. I made a wooden shovel, a millstone, and even a small oven of clay. The first time I ate bread that I had grown and baked myself, I felt like a king. I also learned to keep goats. At first I hunted them for food, but later I caught some alive and made a small field surrounded by a fence. Soon I had milk, cheese, and meat whenever I wanted. Life was still lonely, but I began to see beauty everywhere, in the trees, in the sea, and in the stars at night. I felt closer to God than ever before. Perhaps this is my purpose, I thought, to live simply and be thankful. Many years passed. I built a second house in a cooler part of the island and visited it every few days. I had my goats, my fields, and my tools. I even made an umbrella from palm leaves to protect myself from the hot sun. But one morning, something happened that changed everything. I went down to the beach to look for driftwood, and there, in the wet sand, I saw it. A footprint. A single, clear, human footprint. I froze. My heart beat fast. I looked around. No one. Only the sound of waves and wind. I knelt down to touch it. It was real. Someone has been here, I whispered. I am not alone. Fear filled my heart. Were they good men or savages? Did they see my house? Would they come back? I ran home and closed myself inside my fence. For days I did not leave. I loaded my guns and watched the forest from the top of my wall. At night I could not sleep. Every sound made me jump. I imagined hundreds of wild men coming to kill me. After a week I calmed down a little. Maybe it was just my imagination, I told myself. But the footprint was still there. Months later, while walking near the other side of the island, I found something worse. The remains of a fire, bones and shells. My blood turned cold. Cannibals, I thought. They eat people. From that day I moved more carefully. I made secret paths and built a hidden cave where I could hide if they came. I also made a lookout on a high rock to watch the sea. Time passed. One day from my lookout, I saw a group of men on the beach far away. There were about 20 of them. Some were dancing, others shouting. In the middle, I saw 2 prisoners. My heart pounded. Then I saw one prisoner break free and run towards the forest. 2 men chased him. I grabbed my gun and ran down the hill. When I reached the beach, I saw that one of the men had caught the prisoner and was about to kill him. I fired my gun. The sound echoed across the island. One man fell. The other turned and ran. The prisoner stopped, trembling. "Don't be afraid," I shouted, pointing to the ground to show peace. He slowly came closer and knelt before me. His skin was dark, his hair long, and his eyes full of fear and hope. He took my hand, pressed it to his forehead, and said words I did not understand. Then he smiled. That was the first time in many years that I saw another human face. I gave him bread and water. He pointed to himself and said, "Friday." I smiled. "Friday," I repeated. "Yes, that is your name." From that day, I was not alone anymore. From the day I met Friday, my life on the island changed completely. For the first time in many years, I could speak to another person, and my heart was full of joy. Friday was kind, strong, and clever. At first, he did not know my language, but every day I taught him new words. Soon we could talk about everything: the sea, food, God, and life. I also learned from him. He showed me how to fish with a sharp stick, how to find new fruits, and how to make fire quickly. Together we repaired my fences, hunted goats and planted more crops. Friday called me Master, but I told him, "No, Friday, you are my friend." He smiled and said, "Yes, Master, friend." We often sat by the fire at night, and I told him stories from the Bible. He listened carefully and asked many questions. He believed in God easily, as if faith was already in his heart. I was thankful for that. For 2 years we lived in peace. Then one morning Friday came running. "Master, boat! Boat on beach!" he cried. We climbed to the hill and looked down. There, far below, were 3 boats and many men. Pirates, or maybe the same cannibals as before. I counted about 20 of them. We hid behind rocks and watched. After a while, they brought out 2 prisoners from the boats. One of them was wearing European clothes. My heart jumped. "He might be English," I said. When the wild men began to dance around the prisoners, Friday looked at me. "We saved them," he said, "like you save me." I nodded. "Yes, Friday, we will save them." We took our guns and moved quietly closer. When the men were busy shouting and singing, we fired. 2 of them fell and the rest ran in panic. The prisoners looked shocked, not sure what had happened. "Don't be afraid," I called. "We are friends." When I reached them, one prisoner fell to his knees. "Thank God," he said. "I am a captain from an English ship. My men turned against me and left me here." I helped him stand. "You are safe now," I said. "My name is Robinson Crusoe." The captain stared at me. "Are you the Robinson Crusoe who was lost at sea many years ago?" "Yes," I said quietly. "And this is my island." The captain told me that his ship was still near the coast, controlled by mutineers. "If you help me take it back," he said, "I promise to take you home." It was the chance I had waited for all my life. That night, Friday, the captain and I made a plan. At dawn, we attacked the mutineers who had stayed on the island. After a short fight, they surrendered. We tied them up and took their weapons. The captain's eyes filled with tears. "Mr. Crusoe," he said, "you have saved my life and my ship. I will never forget this." We walked down to the shore. There it was, a real ship, flying an English flag. I stood on the sand for a long time, afraid to believe it. "Are you ready to go home?" the captain asked. I looked at Friday. He smiled. "We go home, master." "Yes," I said softly. "We go home." We sailed from the island on a calm morning. The wind was gentle, and the sea shone like silver. As the island grew smaller behind us, I felt both happiness and sadness. That place had been my prison and also my home for 28 years. It took many weeks to reach England. When I finally stepped on land, everything felt strange. The houses, the streets, the people, all seemed new to me. My parents were gone, and the world had changed. But I was alive. I had faith. And beside me stood Friday, smiling at the noise and lights of the city. Sometimes, in the quiet of the night, I still dreamed of the island, the waves, the goats, the wind in the trees. But when I woke up, I always whispered the same words. Thank you, God, for saving me. Not just from the sea, but from my own pride.